Sometimes when you are seeing something and it's not normal. We was doing a music clip, and we stayed there 8 or 9 hours, and I saw 3 groups of people that was passing in one passage that no one is working there. I asked them where are they from and where they are going, and they told me they are Syrians and they go to Europe. You are going to Europe from here? How? When I start to go to the forest of Idomeni and trying to see what is going on there, I saw it was after of 1 week, I saw families that were staying at the forest, and it was very frightening because winter was coming. There was more of 200 or 300 people surrounded of mafia and smugglers. And it came on my mind the history of my family. And I get ashamed. I get ashamed because I was feeling we are the door of Europe. We are not in Sudan, we are not in Somalia. And as I was trying to get in touch with the refugees, and they were trusting me, and they were sharing horrible stories, what they was doing to them, my neighbor police or the smugglers and the mafia. I returned back to the locals, and I asked them to react. Because if we will allow all of this to happen in our society, in front of our doors, it will be a risk also of our humanity. Even if you are not a volunteer, if you are not you like to be a humanitarian person, it's for the reason of life. You will not lose you will lose your values if you will not react. Winter came. These people, they stay in the forest without any shelter, with only in tents, and surrounded by gangs. So this made me more ashamed, and I decided to give up from my work and stay in my village and try to support them.
My collaboration with Richard Moss kind of spans a long way back. We started working together back in 2011, I believe, on a project that was based in the Democratic Republic of Congo, documenting incredible atrocities in a wide variety of ways. That is basically one of the greatest humanitarian crises of the last century, and is largely undocumented. Yeah, basically I was working in the field with Richard and the cinematographer Trevor Tweeton, and my role primarily in the field is as a sound recordist. And you know, the microphone in that context is not unlike a camera lens, you know, and I think it serves a really important role, obviously to document certain events, to document people's voices and stories. But you know, I think the value of sound in this particular context is 2 things. One, I think there is a kind of a visceral reaction to sound. People respond to things differently if the sound is muted on an image to whether, you know, if they're dealing with the actual sound of the image. The other thing I think is important about the use of sound in the field is the anonymity that it can provide to refugees. Because like you said earlier, many of them just want to kind of protect their identities, because it's, you know, those identities can be used against them.
I went close to the Armenian borders and Turkish border, and I went to the mountains with my normal car and totally destroyed it up. I couldn't come down, and the villagers, they told me that I have to stay there because there's not any possibility to go down. So I started to worry because my friend was down, and I couldn't find any signal even to call them. And I was in one Muslim area and on the period of Ramadan. I stayed there, and the youngs next day, they wanted to drive me in one cave. I went inside to the cave, and we had a lamp. Suddenly the lamp started to switch off, and I get panic. Fear made me to feel even how they will hit me with a stone. I start to have really feeling of fear, and I was feeling I will die here and nobody will find me. So when the lamp totally switched off, I was using my camera and the flash to go down, and still the fear made my legs to don't be able to move. When I get out from the cave and I return in Greece, and I saw what photos I did just to use the flash, I realized the fear made me to lose all the beautiness of the cave. These people, they didn't want to harm me.
Yeah, I mean, through the process of making Ink, I mean, we documented various events, one of which was the sinking of a ship. I wouldn't call it a ship, actually. It's more like a wooden boat, very old wooden boat that was overloaded with refugees coming across from Turkey into Lesbos. And halfway across, it's about a 12-kilometer stretch of ocean there. And about halfway across, the top floor of the ship collapsed. Many people were injured, obviously, and then that actually sunk the entire boat. And, you know, coming in and sort of pointing a microphone at this stuff, you know, you mentioned before, like, the way that you felt like you had to sort of do something, and it's you know, when you're faced with those situations, like face on, like firsthand, it becomes kind of, I don't know about you, but I felt this like huge dilemma about whether my role as a journalist, I suppose, in that moment, is as valuable as, you know, helping put blankets on people. Like where does, like, you know, like, how do you decide, like, is your role in that to kind of stay the course and to make sure that, you know, other people can witness what you're witnessing, you know? I guess this is the big question in journalism.
I didn't want to film them, I didn't want to make photos to them, I didn't want to expose them. But as I was seeing epic scenes in front of me, I didn't have any other chance. I had to do it, but also I had to keep very higher the humanitarian aid, because no one was there.
The way it pushes it, the thing I keep coming back to, actually, more and more as time goes on, is the way that this entire situation runs so at odds with human nature. You know, it runs at odds with our nature as animals. Fact of the matter, and that is that we're living in a time right now in human history with the absolute least amount of human movement that we've ever had. This is the most static moment in history. It goes against nature, this idea that you can't move, that you have to stay where you are in spite of any circumstances.
We need to open our doors and our windows. We cannot live always behind of the shadow and curtain. Come on, we have to move out. It's very easy to touch one person. It will not harm you. He will not harm you. We should pass our fears. This is our problem. Or we should not learn everything through social media or media. We can be out. We can step out.
You know, seeing what I've seen in the crisis has definitely made me realize on a very personal level that this is not something that anybody chooses to do. You don't do this if you have another choice. You don't put a kid in one of these boats if you have any other choice.
So we should do something to collapse this shameful situation for Europe, to allow the mafia to increase their numbers day by day. Legalization is the message. I don't want any more of the mafia taking 6 or 9 or 15,000 euros from it. It's not fitting with us. Yeah, I think it's enough. We know now their game. Let's try to drive people from their countries here with a social contract. Let's train them, and at least when they will return back, to create again prosperity and be able to survive. I will say again, responsible is art. Art is the way that is a platform that will use so many materials. And look now in Elevate. First time the music festivals open this issue. Reworks and Elevate and Reworks, they have this idea, and they brought us, me and you, here to meet. So we are sharing ideas, and maybe if you will see me in the street, maybe you will not like me, or maybe I will not like you. Now we met each other, so we can start at least tomorrow to start chatting. It's the same with everyone.
Dialogue.
Yeah.
Absolutely.